it's Saturn. Welcome back to my channel. Hope you are having a great New Year's. I'm making this video because I recently went through a really weird health scare when it comes to my heart condition, and I was told that it's very common, but whenever I talk to anyone else who has HLHS, sorry, my cat is playing. Whenever I talk to anyone else with HLHS, they say that it's never happened to them, or they never even heard about it, or that it could happen. So I want this video to be what to look out for, and how I got mine fixed, and how easy it was. Because I really went in there thinking that I was going to need heart transplant, and then all this other surgery, and yada yada, and then here's 3 stents. Go home. So first off, I will say that it took forever to figure this all out. Starting March 5th-ish, I started to have really bad headaches to the point where if I was driving, it felt like my eyes were just taking forever to follow where my head was going. So if my head was like this, my eyes would just have to go like that. So it was really weird. I thought maybe it's my POTS, maybe my thyroid's acting up, maybe my iron's just weird. So I went in. Everything was fine. It wasn't my thyroid, it wasn't my iron, everything looked fine. But after a family vacation in the summer, I went back in on July 6th with the same headache, and now I was having chest pain. So it felt like my heart would beat and then stop, and then it would just beat really, really hard against my chest. And it was kind of scary. I could feel it right here, and then all the way down to my arm. It felt like my chest was just really tight, and I didn't have room for my heart to beat. So, and I've been having these for like years. I mean, like, I was having so many echoes, ECGs, pulse monitors, and absolutely nothing. Everything came back clean and perfect. So I thought, okay, maybe it's anxiety, whatever. But then by July, it just got so downhill, I guess you could say. So on July 8th, I actually went into my cardiologist for my regular appointment, and everything turned out perfectly fine once again. So I'm like, all right, I'm just being a dumbass, and it's my own anxiety causing this. So as time went on, I actually got a job at a like farm production kind of business, and my schedules were only 4 hours, but by the third hour, my legs were just absolutely killing me, and I just had to sit down. Like, I could not do it anymore, and that only got worse. So I ended up quitting because, one, because of that, and two, coworkers were being shitty towards me. So I'm like, fuck you guys. On August 5th, I had my regular liver ultrasound, and one, it was weird because I went in there expecting, okay, let's look at your liver, but then it was my liver and like so many other things. Why are you looking at my pancreas? Like, what the fuck's going on? So I'm like, alright, whatever. My cardiologist ordered it. I'll do what he wants, whatever. And then it came back nice and clean. Never got a single phone call. But because I'm such a weirdo, I like to go into my chart stuff and just read all the reports. So like, whenever you go into your doctors and they're like, okay, so how are you feeling? Blah blah blah, and you tell them all this, they write it down and it's in your chart. So I like to go in, snoop around, read it, see what they say about me. And I found that in my liver ultrasound, they found multiple densities that may be benign. And they weren't there in 2016. So that was a big red flag. I called my cardiologist, and his nurse actually told me that it was nothing to worry about, and I would have it figured out when I got to Mayo Clinic for my hysterectomy, because if you don't know, I'm trying to do that right now, and I didn't even have an appointment for that yet. So it was kind of it was very concerning that my cardiologist would see that my liver has densities that weren't there before, but would just brush it off for an appointment that hasn't even been made yet. And with Mayo Clinic, if it's not like an emergency, then you're on a wait list for at least 3 months. Okay, so I'd have to wait 3 months plus to get my liver looked at when your liver is also like a big concern when it comes to your Fontan. So by August 31st, my chest was not getting any better. I started working at Dairy Queen again. I know. Why would you do that? You hated it there. Blah, blah. I needed a job, okay? And my friends worked there. It was easy. I knew what to do. So I get there, and it starts to turn that I can't even work 1 hour without having to sit down or lay down on the disgusting floor because it just hurt so bad. My legs were killing me. My oxygen was just dropping like crazy. My heart was racing and pounding, and it hurt so bad. So I went into my doctor and brought this all up again, and so she had me just go down for an x-ray. And it wasn't even that far, probably like 20 feet away. And when I got there, my O2 had dropped. I don't remember that part, but I know the radiologist was kind of like, "Hey, that's weird." So when I got my x-ray done and I went back to my area or whatever, my oxygen went down to around 78, which for someone with HLHS, your normal oxygen is going to be low, but the lowest it should go without concern is probably like 82. So when it's like high 70s, that's a big red flag. So my doctor here called my cardiologist and told him what was going on, what's happening. Just basically said, hey, her O2 is not looking so great. And he said, and I quote, it is probably just the O2 monitor. My own cardiologist, who knows I have my left ventricle missing, brushes off that my O2 is dropping drastically because the O2 monitor might be off. Even my own mom called and said that we have our own at-home O2 monitor, and it's dropping at home too. Whenever I would get up and just walk to the bathroom, which is like 10 feet away, it would drop. So it's not just the doctor's O2 monitor. But nope, I was fine. Whatever. By September 7th, I went to the ER because I could not do anything. I was struggling at work, struggling at home. I couldn't take care of my chickens. If I wanted to go out and give them water, I'd have to have my dad or my mom help me because I could not do it. I couldn't get eggs. I couldn't clean out their nesting boxes. I couldn't just walk out there and be like, hi, without my just being like, oh my god. So I went to the ER, did a mono screening. If I had the flu, do I have literally anything, pneumonia, bronchitis, I had chest x-rays. I walked around in the room for a bit and nothing was happening. I mean, literally, like I walked around and my oxygen wouldn't drop, and so they just went, I don't know what's wrong. And so I was literally there from maybe like 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. just trying to almost convince them that something was wrong. Please, please look at me. Call my. I don't know what to do. You're the doctor. Do something. So on September 13th, I decided, all right, I'm done. I'm going to my doctor in another town that is about an hour away, who has known me since I was just a baby, and he knows me. I mean, he's the one that got me diagnosed with C. diff. He found I had mono. He got me up to Mayo for my oh, your organs must be failing kind of issue in 2016. So I was I was already kind of upset. I mean, like I couldn't work a lot. I was just staying at home doing absolutely nothing. Then I did have a breakdown a bit about just I can't do anything. I don't know what's wrong. So he did help me. just calmed me down and went, okay, let's go for a walk. Put on an O2 monitor. Let's go. So me and him walked up and down the hall for maybe like 3 minutes, and my O2 dropped down to 76. And that was when, oh yeah, you need to go to your cardiologist and get a stress echo. And stress echo is basically they put you under and do an echo and see how your heart reacts to stress. So I'm like, all right, sounds good. So we get up there, not to my cardiologist, because my cardiologist is on vacation. So we get up there, see the other cardiologist. He completely understands. He's going, all right, let's figure this out. One, we don't do stress echoes though. That's a Mayo Clinic thing. But we can do a stress test. So what that was just hooking me up to an O2 monitor and almost kind of like um an EKG. So just a few little sticky tabs on me and all right, walk. So I was told to walk. It was the lowest setting they could possibly go, and he told me whenever you want to stop, just let me know and we'll stop. I got to about 4.5 minutes before I could not do it anymore. I mean, it hurt like crazy. My chest was just killing me. I could feel my heart racing and my body struggling to get oxygen. So, looking at that monitor and seeing that my oxygen had dropped down to 76 um and my heart rate was 156, that was absolutely crazy to me. So he goes, "Okay, now you go to Mayo Clinic." So and of course, Mayo Clinic has to call and be like, "Oh, what medications are you on? Are you pregnant? Blah, blah, blah," all this stupid shit. And I know not to do it. So I'm like, okay, whatever. So finally, on October 17th, I had to drive up there just for a COVID test. And so that night, I was just so relieved that I got up there and I was finally going to figure something out. So I was a bit scared because it was like another major procedure. And I haven't had it since I was like 2, 3 maybe. So I was pretty scared, but I got there. We did a bunch of other work. I had my liver MRI. I had an X-ray. I had blood work. That works, and it was fine. I love Mayo Clinic. As weird as it sounds, my own therapist is like, "Are you sure you don't have like any medical like trauma? Like you're really scared?" But it's like I love Mayo Clinic. Like whenever I get there, I'm just so happy. I mean, everyone's so nice and it's so pretty. So I was excited. So it was fine for me. After all of my other appointments, I finally got to meet my new cardiologist since mine had retired again. And so I got in the room. I sit on the bed. My parents are next to me in the chairs, and in walks what I feel was like a 7 foot tall man, and he was absolutely amazing. I mean, sweet as hell. He was super nice, answered all my questions, and he said that he didn't even need to do the stress echo because he knew it was wrong. And I'm like, how could you know it was wrong without actually doing the stress echo? And he said, because I can see it on your x-ray from your cardiologist in South Dakota. Okay, so you can see what the so the problem can be visible on my x-ray from my cardiologist, but my cardiologist said that there's nothing wrong with me. So he shows me the x-ray and we're being a dumbass to each other basically, and he goes, "Okay, do you know why bones are visible on your x-ray?" And I'm like, "Oh, because they're bones, duh." And he said, "No, because it's made of calcium." So he points to the side of my heart, which is like on the right side, and it's kind of in between the um, vena cavas. So, and it's visible. And he said, "This is your conduit, and it's completely filled with calcium. And that calcium is sitting on your liver, and that is what's causing the densities." one, I'm like, what the fuck is a conduit? And two, it was a cadaver conduit. And my mom's like, a cadaver? So we're like, I had no idea that. And like, it's so weird because my own cardiologist made me a diagram about how my heart works, and he never once mentioned a conduit. What the fuck is a conduit? So apparently, I'm sorry, I lied to everyone, but I have a conduit. Ah. So a conduit is just basically an extra tunnel system that they put. And in that conduit was my hole that was letting that extra blue blood flow through as an overflow valve. Well, now that the calcium was setting in, it went from what was once 18 millimeters to 13 millimeters. And so that kind of tricked that overflow valve into thinking, oh, your heart is overworking, let me help out. And so too much blue blood was flowing through the overflow valve, and that was why my oxygen was always dropping. Why I think that my legs were always like absolutely killing me because my legs weren't getting enough oxygen. If you feel me, I still don't really understand a lot of it. So I this is another time where I'm saying just don't take medical advice from me. Ask your cardiologist because I had no idea about this shit. So what they had to do was they had to go in via heart cath in my jugular vein and my femoral vein, and it was kind of weird because they told me that I wasn't gonna remember anything, but I vividly remember being in there and then feeling that cath by my heart because I'm like, is it in there? Like, is that in my heart? And they're like, yeah, that's what you're feeling right now. And then I think they realized that, oh, she's awake. Because soon I just remember going, I feel really sleepy. I think I'm going to go to bed. Good night, everyone. Because it was me, my cardiologist, anesthesiologist, multiple other people to help out, and someone else, and I feel bad because I can't remember her name, because she specifically told me, if you ever feel anything or need any help, let me know by calling out my name. And I'm like, alright, gotcha. But in my defense, I have I was drugged with anesthesia, or anesthetics or whatever. So I'm sorry, it's probably in my notes somewhere. But so they put in 2 stents into my conduit, and they also had to put another one into my pulmonary artery because right before my surgery, my doctor came in and said, "Oh, by the way, your artery is stretched." And he said, "That's nothing to worry about. It's what happens when you have the Norwood procedure. Just like how the conduit thing is normal with the Fontaine procedure." So that made me feel better. I'm like, alright, he knows what he's doing. I got you, man. So everything went well. I got 3 stents put in. It was just that as soon as I woke up, I felt so much pain. Like, it was so awful, but few hiccups, some medicine. I went home the next day, so I was pretty proud of myself there. So, and I did get some video. Well, my dad tried. He tried to get some video of my doctor explaining what he did with the stents or whatever. But I think I just kind of went through that and grabbed screenshots of what it looks like. So I'll try to put them here. I don't want to expose my doctor or my after surgery voice because I said some dumb shit. So I won't post the video, but I will try to post those screenshots because it is interesting. Because I used to be able to only see like the wires in my chest, like almost like just perfectly down my spine almost. And now it was that plus this like mesh looking like I don't know, it's kind of weird. It was only like this big, this round. It was really itty bitty tiny. And so it looks pretty funky. I'll show it just so you know what it looks like. So during recovery in the recovery room, I had another cardiologist come in, introduce himself, and when I asked why this happened, he said that it's completely normal with people with HLHS. And so that made me feel better, but I have never heard anyone else that would go through that, except maybe like twice now. Only because I've asked around specifically, has this happened to anyone else? So I just wanted to make this entire thing just because if you were, or if you're like me or my mom and you're struggling to figure out what's going on, I just want to share that this could happen, so maybe look into that. And also just remember to advocate for yourself, because I don't think I would honestly be here. Like, I think I'd be in the hospital by now if I didn't, like, stand up for myself and say, this is wrong. I'm not doing well. My heart is not working correctly. Oh, I did ask the cardiologist that came into my room the next morning how long this might have been happening, and he said 5 years. And he said probably longer, but once you hit 5 years, that's usually when you begin starting to see, like, really bad symptoms. So, the entire time that I've been complaining that, oh, I have really weird heart palpitations, and my cardiologist is going, no, you're fine, I don't see anything on the Holter monitor. It was all of that. So, like, when I was dealing with my C. diff and my mono, I was also starting to get, like, really bad with this stuff. So, it's just so crazy, I guess. And it's so weird to think about, too, because it's like, okay, so if, like, minimum, this started when I was 16. So it's like, I've only listened to, like, events that would unfold with this stuff going on. I saw Panic at the Disco with this stuff going on. I only, like, have watched Quackity with this stuff going on. Like, I've talked to him. I've only talked to Quackity with this stuff going on. So it's like, holy, like, it's so weird. It's like, I feel like I have to, like, reintroduce myself to, like, everyone. You know? Like, like, I felt like I had to, like, reintroduce myself to my friends, because it's like, I'm such a different person now that it's like, I don't feel miserable, I guess. I mean, like, I still want to be sometimes because edgy, but I mean, it's like, I don't know, it feels nice. So, it does happen, but it was a very easy fix. I was going in there expecting them to be like, yeah, you're gonna need to be on the transplant list and stay here for a while. So I'm honestly glad that it didn't happen, though I don't think I would have complained too much, but I am glad because now my new oxygen is 94, which it has never been up that high, even when I was, like, having oxygen. So, that's a win. I also have started working at a floral shop, and I absolutely love it. So, that's another plus. I'm able to go out and walk around and not have to be, like, overly exhausted after, like, 5 minutes. I can talk better now. It's not just me being like, yeah, so, like, yeah, I'll have to catch my breath every once in a while, but, because I am still kind of recovering. It didn't really happen, like, mid-October, so, at least according to SSI, but I won't get into that, so, I am just really hoping that things only go up, because it is the new year in 7 minutes for me, so I'm very excited. January I start opening the floral shop without my boss being there, so I'm, like, really, like, anxious, but I'm also excited to be like, ooh, I'm gonna do something. Like, I'm really excited, so hope that is helpful. If you have any questions about it, let me know. I'll try to explain it or help out the best I can. I know it's really confusing. I mean, like, the whole, like, I have a cadaver part. It felt like, why didn't I know of that? Like, that's such a, like, what, shouldn't I have been able to know about that? Like, I don't know. It's so weird. Like, oh, another thing. My liver will bounce back, so I'm still not going to be, like, drinking a whole lot, but I did find a wine that I like. It's strawberry. I don't know the brand or anything. I just know that it's red and strawberry, and I like it. This has been Luna's first time seeing me all, like, healthy for once. Oh, baby. I'm gonna cry. Oh my god. Alright. To end this off, I just want to say, have a great 2022, and try your best to stay positive. I know it's hard, but it will take you a long ways. Trust me. So, if you have any comments or questions, just let me know, and I will try my best to get back to you as soon as I can. So,